Kathy, thank you. On the heels of that violent attack at the largest Reform synagogue in the nation, Jewish communities all across the country, here in Colorado, no different, are on high alert because of it and just the climate of anti-Semitism that we've seen increase across the nation. Joining me now is Rabbi Emily Hyatt, Temple Emmanuel here in Denver. And you've come in to speak to us before, and I'm sorry that it has to be a conversation like this, but your initial reaction to what you saw today.
Listen, every time, and it happens so much more often than it should, that we get information like this, the first thing we do is we pray that everybody's okay. There's kids in that building. There are clergy in that building. There's people we know. There's families. The second thing we do is take care of our building, make sure that we don't know what's going on. So we have to increase our own security, obviously. And then we sit down with each other and we think, what world are we living in?
Right. And that's a question that you ask a lot when the war in Gaza broke out. When October 7th happened, the war in Gaza broke out. I was working in New York City, and the number of hate crimes that shot through the roof, and the majority of them were anti-Semitic hate crimes, just shot up. And I understand in relation, well, I don't understand, but in relation to that, and now with what's happening in Iran, do you feel like what's happening now is any different than what has happened over the years?
It's a good question. And the answer is, in some ways, yes, in some ways, no. And in some ways, it doesn't matter, because as we think about how we keep our families and our community safe, the feeling of vulnerability is so high right now. And every time there's another attack at another Jewish institution or event or gathering, our sense of safety decreases, and we have to look at the numbers of how many attacks there have been. It is an intolerable number of anti-Semitic attacks that are happening in rapid succession, and we know we're not safe.
And I would imagine your show, like others across the nation, you know, I used to see security, armed security during the high holidays. Now it seems like I would imagine that's all the time.
It's all the time. We have an incredible security team. We also work very closely with our Community Secure Community Network through Jewish Colorado. We work really closely with the Denver Police Department. But I will tell you that when I became a rabbi and when I became senior rabbi in partnership with my colleagues at Temple Emmanuel, I did not imagine I was going to have to also be a security expert. No,
absolutely. I want to get into this with you because we didn't talk about this beforehand.
Okay, good.
I know that you're going to be good with
it.
There is a debate in this country over the difference between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism, and criticizing what the government of Israel does and driving your car into a synagogue here in Michigan to kill Jews who might not even be tied to that. How do you intellectually and realistically talk about this to people?
There's two pieces of this conversation. Number one is the intellectual truth of it, which is, of course, there's a difference between our relationship with Israel and our relationship with our Jewish identities. And those two things are not the same. And some Jews have a very close relationship with Israel, and some Jews do not. And that's okay. There's the second piece of it, which is that nobody else understands that. And so it's all very messy and tangled up. Inside the Jewish community, we have all kinds of conversations about what it means to navigate this time and to wrestle with what's happening in Israel and in Gaza, and we do. But outside of our community, it is tangled. Lots of people don't know the difference. And so, yeah, what happens in Israel, good or bad, gets taken out on the Jewish community, and that's not acceptable.
Yeah, and we've seen it, unfortunately, in this country at other points in the country. I remember I covered 9/11. After that, Muslim Americans in this country were attacked. Right. After Pearl Harbor. You can go back. It's fair to say no one in this country should be attacked for something that happens in another country. And it just seems like the Jewish community, particularly right now, and the American community at large, the anti-American sentiment is huge right now too, just is suffering. So what would you say finally to folks who are not a part of the Jewish community, who are looking at this saying, how do I wrap my head around what's happening, and why does it matter to me what's happening to them?
I'll say two things. Number one, we have learned through hundreds of years of history that the way people treat minorities, and especially the Jewish community, we call it a canary in a coal mine. If we live in a community that is full of violence and where people take out their feelings and their frustrations on minority communities, it's not good for anyone. And it says bigger things about our society and the way that we're handling our problems. And number two is we're all in this together. And as hard as the global and geopolitical climate is right now, and it is rough, the only way that we get through it is by having dialogue, by meeting each other, by being partners in the things that we can find in common, by assuming that every human being has inside of them a spark of God and of good, and that we can do good things together, and that if we can see past differences, maybe we can make this a little bit better. And we're allowed to disagree. We're allowed to think different things about the thing in the world and still find ways to be neighbors.
Yeah, and those who close their eyes to what's happening over here certainly don't want people to close their eyes when it's happening to them.
Of course.
All right. Rabbi Emily Hyde, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate the conversation. We'll be right back.